Say hi. Look over there. Say hi. Hi. Look at it. This is my beautiful Luna. This is your psycho host, Psycho Alex, and this is Shenanigans and More. Say hi. She just wants to play. So, for today's episode, I have really interesting things. Give her a second. So for today's episode, I have very interesting things that I would like to talk to you guys about. But as we get started, I just want to say hi. Give a shout out to all my beautiful friends. Mwah. Give a shout out to all my beautiful followers. I appreciate all the views. I appreciate all of you guys. Need I mention that I have a new job and it's actually pretty cool, and I'm really excited about it. And yeah. She just wants to be on the episode, but she's probably going to miss, most of it. So, I'll be right back. So, as promised, I got news for you. So, as some of you might have seen already, I don't know if you can see it. Did you see it? There you go. And, I don't know if you guys have seen it because you have me on Instagram, but I have all these really cool stickers ready to go that I'm sharing with all of you guys. And if you post them and if you share them, I will fucking love you. But these are my new fucking stickers for this shenanigans and for you to get a load of this shenanigans. I'm super thrilled, you guys, super excited. I had already said I was going to do it, and I decided to do it. And about time. Right? So anyways, long story short, for today's episode, I have a very interesting perspective. And I didn't mean, by the way, for you guys to be able to see my entire area. Something's up with my camera, and I'm trying to figure it out. But I wanted to get the episode going, and just get us going and not flaking on you guys for another week. So I have this really interesting topic, like I mentioned, where, so my really interesting news is that, fun fact. So my dear Ghetto Buddha my very good friend and my dear Ghetto Buddha from Ghetto Buddha Pod, you can find him at, his website. I don't remember it. I'll put it on here. Actually made this painting, and I kind of just kidnapped it. Found it a new home. Isn't it cute? Isn't it pretty? So he's amazing, and he also paints, you guys. So I got a little piece of him now in my podcast wall of art, and eventually, hopefully, you guys can send me stuff. You guys want to gift me stuff, or I can totally pay for it. I mean, nothing extravagant because I can't afford it, but, well, talking about not being able to afford it, I think that just made me want to sneeze. Today's episode is actually about what is poverty mentality. Do you guys know? Any idea? So poverty mentality is actually something that's really interesting because I feel like we don't think about it. It's very unconscious. It's very in our subconscious because we kind of grow up that way sometimes. We kind of, we don't choose to be poor, right? I didn't choose to be poor, personally. But I grew up with a family who had necessities, who traveled to a different country because of the same necessities and the lack of in our country and stuff like that. And so we came in here and adopted this whole new culture, this whole new life to try to get a better life for ourselves, right? And so with that in mind, I feel like we would actually, not as per se rich, which we could, but it comes down to like the type of mentality where sometimes we think that other people have it better because they were born in a what is that called, golden cradle. And so, you know, perhaps, we can, I have thought of myself of like, you know, not being as not being at the place where I wish I was in my life in my 30s because of the lack of um economic assistance from people like my family, like the government, that I could have probably gotten some help and gone to school, but that still doesn't um mean that other people didn't do it or that they didn't try to do it and that they succeeded, which I could have if I didn't have poverty mentality. Now, it's not as simple as that just came out for me to actually admit that I have or have had, or I'm still working on the poverty mentality that my parents engraved in me. Now, is it their fault? No, of course not. They grew up with the same, uh, um, what is it called? Not just mentality, but like, you know, um, culture or upbringings, and maybe we all alter it and make it better for our next generation, for our children and stuff. But ultimately, there's still a lot of things there that, stay engraved in us. Like, for instance, like, well, let me backtrack a little. So, what is poverty mentality? According to the internet, right? And so it's a way of thinking to perpetuate poverty. Um, we stay focused on what we do not have instead of focusing on what we do have. So it's that whole idea of half glass full versus a half. What did I say? Half cup, half glass full or a half glass empty. Where you kind of have to think about it, and our perspective can change the entire view and the entire manifestation even, and mood of how your life continues to happen, and evolve, and eventually you can become, like I said, perhaps not a wealthy rich person who doesn't ever have to worry about, which isn't true. Rich people do have worries. Rich people have worries about their money, about their businesses, about their wives, about their kids. Like, it doesn't mean that they don't have worry. They're not, just because they have money doesn't mean they're worry free. If anything, they worry just as much as we do, because they have more expenses. They have luxuries and shit like that. Um, I think I got off track. The point is, though, is that poverty mentality is when we continue to have these ideas, or these extreme of ideas, actually, because it could be on the extreme side of where you don't want to spend a penny and you save everything. I'm not saying recycling is bad, but when people do it because of the money and because of the obsession of not wanting to let go of anything that isn't used, like recycling plastic bags, or recycling, I use this for the trash, but but like recycling, like, I mean, like Ziploc bags, like the small lunch bags, or like, all kinds of stuff around your house that, some of it is just garbage, and some of it you just need to dispose of it, and some of it is really not going to save you a cent if you keep it or toss it. It's not going to do you that much harm for you to toss something. Like, there's people who really don't buy themselves new shoes or new clothes until it's completely ripped, because of the fact of saving money, and so it's really crazy, and it's really, really scary if you start to think about like your personal own habits of things like that. It took me a while. I am the kind of person that I will blow up money on someone that I love, on someone that I care about, on a partner, on a girlfriend, on a best friend, on a brother, on a niece, on a nephew, and stuff like that. And I don't mean like insane amount of money, because I don't have it, but I do mean like I would I would very hesitantly and never in my life did I think that I would actually spend $100 and something on tennis shoes, you know, just because they're a luxury or just because they're famous or because they're a certain brand or whatever it is. And I never hesitated to buy my ex fiance some shoes that were $100 and something. Is that fair to me? No. Should I have changed my mentality of fucking yeah, because that motherfucker, you know? But regardless of the fact, I don't understand in my own brain why I was so hesitant to always buy myself something that was more than $100, And some people may be watching this and be like, what the fuck is $100, But I just mean that. I mean that at some point in my life, I didn't think that I could afford it or that I should afford it or that I should spend it when I can use it on other things. Now, it's really funny because how can you change this mentality once you realize that this is what you have, right? And then what cycles do we fall into? Like what kind of habits, and can they be recognized? Do we still do them? Like as adults, we see our parents. And the funny thing is that ultimately, and this is also if your parents, ultimately keep in mind, okay, that your children, just like us, and just like your parents at some point, they didn't follow their parents, your parents, and now your children won't follow what you tell them, per se, exactly, by the T, to the T, or whatever the fuck it says. We absorb habits. We absorb what we see and who and how you handle situations, right? So I remember distinctly that when I was a kid, like my parents were always struggling to pay rent. We were always having to take hand-me-downs, having to live with relatives because we couldn't afford to live on our own and stuff like that. Okay? And so like you evolve with these habits and you pick up these ideas that this is how it is and this is how life is. Or then you can also do the extreme and go on the complete opposite side and actually blow up all your money all the time because you never had it. Right? There's a lot of us who also live that way, who are always blowing up their money, never actually saving for a rainy day because you've never had this, because you may never have the experience to have this. Now, there is within reason ways that you can definitely treat yourself, like once in a while buy yourself those $100 shoes, or if you've worked this much, you can every 6 months, you've earned yourself this reward or this like purchase that you want to do, and that's fine, just extremes to extremes, what are some of the signs before I continue with actually answering the questions of what like the cycle looks like and all that stuff? This is going to kind of fall into that, but what are some of the signs that we probably go through and don't even realize, unconscious habits and stuff like that? So the belief that you're a victim of others' decisions and choices. Now, it's really interesting when I go over it, and as I was doing the research and as I was talking to my friends about this, shout out to Ghetto Buddha, because we were talking about this, it's the belief that you're a victim of others' choices and decisions. And I, for a while, blamed society, blamed my parents, blamed my father most of all. I blamed the school system and everything because I couldn't go to school. Now, even if some of it, most of it, some percentage of it is true, ultimately, I could have gotten a job. I could have found a way to do it. I could have had discovered and hustled and pushed myself like a lot of DACA people that I know, and cheer on, I could have been them, that I could have found a way to do it instead of just like pity party myself and cause myself the victim of society and everything else that I couldn't go to school for. you know. Fear of spending money on non-essentials. Like, I've done this before where I like, again, I'll set myself aside. This is really funny because I don't know if it's like, if it was on purpose, but when I was a kid, you know, I don't know about you guys, but like, we had this thing called Domingo, right? So our parents would give us money on the weekends, on Sundays, and like, we got to spend it however we please. Now, I was always the one that was saving, and my brother was always the one that was spending. So I would save, 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 and then whenever I wanted to buy something really nice, like, or really nice, you know, that costs a little bit more money than what my regular Sunday would be, I would spend that money. And a lot of the times, or almost every time, my brother wouldn't have money, and my brother would want to buy something too, and he would want to share it, or he would want to something. So I remember that I would take my little savings and I would use it for both of us. Okay? And now you may think, oh, that's a really cute big sister thing. Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess at that point, that's what I thought, you know, was my job to do. But it was just kind of like the way that I make conscious decision of the money, right? So another thing was that my parents, and ever since we used to get that Domingo and stuff like that, what would happen is that my father would always tell us that we had to use it for something good, for something essential, for something that was going to give us a benefit, and not just like random toys or random stuff that were just shenanigans that we're just gonna get rid of, or that we're gonna lose, or like, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was, you know. And so that idea got engraved in my head all the time, that whenever I gift things for Christmas and stuff like that, and people judge me all the time, you know, people always like think that I'm a fucking weirdo, but I don't give gifts that you want. I give you gifts that you need. So if I see, if I acknowledge, if I notice that your coffee mug is old or something, for instance, I'm gonna gift you a coffee mug because you use that constantly. I'm gonna gift you shoes because I know that you're gonna fucking run out of shoes and that you're gonna need shoes. You know, I'm that one friend or that one cousin, that one tia that's gonna gift you fucking socks because you can never not have socks and not need them. Okay, so I feel like those are the kinds of things that got engraved in me as a poverty mentality. You know, when I was a kid, the only time that I would ever get clothes that was brand new and that wasn't hand-me-downs, it was on my birthday and on Christmas. Like, those were the only times that I could do that. Okay? And then I would get to spend or choose what I wanted to get, like the best things that I wanted to buy at the time. Like, I distinctly remember one Christmas, or was it my birthday? Okay, then not that distinctly, but the idea is that my mom got me. I'm old, you guys, so there was this thing called Lisa Frank, and it was this really beautiful like little box that had little baby drawers, and they had all kinds of glittery pens and like fabulous color paper and all these like really cute small like erasers and pencils and stuff like that. And it was like a girl's dream because, you know, it's cute, you know, and we're always writing notes and like poems and, you know, diaries and shit. And so it was like, I think it was something like $20. And it was a lot for a little useless kind of box, you know, of like things that I was gonna treasure forever. I think I still have it. But, you know, it just seemed to me that it was something that it wasn't worth it, and that it wasn't essential for me to ask my mother to use her little money for that for me for my birthday or for Christmas. I don't recall exactly, but let's just say birthday. And so I feel so bad really, really wanting it and asking her for it, because I knew that, you know, most definitely, most likely, she wasn't going to be able to afford it, or she wasn't going to be able to buy, like, she wasn't going to want to buy it. So it stuck with me of like not buying stuff that isn't essential or that isn't important, you know. Another thing that I did too was like food, very recently I hung out with one of my very dear friends, and she took me to Disneyland. We went and got some food after some time, and she just wanted to order everything off the motherfucking menu. And that's just how she is, and that's just how she eats. But to me, it was like, oh my God, like, what a waste of food. Like, the food here is so expensive, and you want to get, like, everything, and you're not even going to eat it, because I already knew how she ate small portions. And then I was like, okay, but we can share. You don't have to buy me my own plate. She's like, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. Da, 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 da. And so, like, we're eating all this food, and I'm trying to stuff my face to finish all her food, and she just looks over at me and she's like, if you're done, you're done. Stop eating. That's why you're fat. and I was just kind of like, what? And she's like, are you full? And I'm like, yeah. Then why are you eating? And it's like, because you're letting all this food go to waste. Like, I come from a country where, like, we're all starving. We don't get to have throw out leftovers. You save leftovers for the next day or for the next person in your family. You share one drink for 4 people and stuff like that. So understanding that, one, I no longer have that lifestyle, right? And not to mention that she bought it, so it wasn't under my money, but even if it was under my money and I got full, it's okay to let go and to get rid of it, toss it out, and not have this, like, necessity, because then you develop disorders, eating disorders, and hoarding food and storing it for later. Like, now I think it's silly that ever even crossed my mind, or that I looked like that to her. I know she loves me and that she doesn't mind, but it's just like, now it was a little embarrassing even to think about how I was acting or how I was reacting. And I'm not saying I'm completely over it. I'm not saying that it's completely gone, but now if I really, really want something, I don't care that it's a cupcake that's $5. I don't care that it's a cake that's going to cost me, over the norm for a cake and stuff. Like, I'll treat myself, I'll take advantage of me getting a bonus this week, or of me, working extra or whatever. But like, that's also why, if you guys have me on Instagram, you'll see my beautiful Vans. I finally got them, because same idea. I was like, I really, really want these shoes. I really, 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 really do. But why do I need them? They're just a luxury. I'm not going to wear them all the time. Where am I going to wear them? To wear them one time. Like, all of these thoughts just fucking go through my mind before I actually get to make the decision of spending fucking $100 on myself. Like, what? So if you're questioning if everything I'm saying sounds absurd to you, that's fucking awesome. Good job. Your parents didn't teach you poverty mentality. If everything I'm saying makes sense to you and you identify, then welcome to poverty mentality. We're gonna change this. And so believe that you are lucky when you succeed, and feel incompetent when you fail. That is one of the symptoms, one of the signs. You find it difficult to celebrate other people's successes. Now, both of those are very important to understand, right? Failure is only a lesson of life. It's taken me forever to understand that. And I'm pretty sure that it's taking a lot of us some time. It's taken me forever because I still blamed myself. And I still haven't gone over the hurdle of, I'm bringing it up again, not being able to go to college. Not being able to go to the university that I wanted to go, and to have paid for it, and to have, like, taken the classes, and to now have a PhD in psychology. And instead I'm doing podcasts and telling y'all how fucked up my life is for therapy. But understanding that other people got to succeed and that I got to experience that and like be happy for them. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for those people, especially whom I care about and are my friends and I love and are my family. You know, fucking congratulations. I really truly cheer you on, and I am not. I send you blessings. You know, but it wasn't always that way. Realistically, if I'm honest with myself, it wasn't always that way. I wasn't always as cheery and as happy and as understanding that, you know, perhaps my poverty mentality or my parents' poverty mentality, um, and the people that I hung out with poverty mentality kept me down from trying to succeed and from trying to do something better. Um, you know, and I have no one to blame but myself, you know. Now I know. Now I'm learning the lessons, and now I'm going to do something about it. And now when you see me roll up, you know, you know, it's going to mean that it's working, you know. And then and to find it difficult to celebrate other people's failures. I did feel incompetent. I'm sorry to backtrack, but to celebrate other people's successes. I think I read that wrong. But to celebrate other people's successes, very recently, shout out cousin, um, someone told me that they got a job offer and that everything sounds great and everything sounds perfect. And I was very, very proud of myself to be happy for her, to be genuinely wishing her blessings and be excited for her and totally believing in my mind before I actually told her that she can totally do the job, that she's totally gonna fucking rock it, and that they are freaking lucky to have her once they take her on. But a long time ago, a while back ago, it I might not have thought that way first. I might have actually like being upset about it, wished it was me, when am I gonna get a chance, or not like I'm ever gonna get a chance of something like that happening to me, you know, wishing upon a star, but not believing that I'm worthy of it. And now I'm starting to understand that that's not true. You know, if I'm the kind of person that if I set my mind to something, I will do it, I will work on it, and I am now. Look at, I have a whole podcast with 44 episodes. You know, but it's taken time. It's taking blood, sweat, and tears to grow up, to go through it all, and to get to the point where I'm sending blessings to my beautiful people whom I love for getting something finally good for them, you know. And whether today is my time, whether tomorrow is my time, whether when they get this job they pull their connections, just kidding, and it takes my time, you know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and all I gotta do is work on it. It's all I gotta do is change my poverty mentality and understand that my turn will happen, and that's totally fucking fine. Okay. Now you have a constant feeling of something is about to go wrong. I am completely and utterly and genuinely a victim of that. I am. I have a constant fear. I even looked it up. I looked it up and I was telling my friend about it, and I was like, "Yo, man, like I genuinely feel like I have this phobia." And he's like, "That's not a thing." I was like, "I looked it up. It's a thing. It's a thing of having fear that whenever things are going well, something's gonna go wrong." And I'm working on it, but I still feel that way. You know, every time I feel like something's going good in love, every time I feel like something's going good at my work, every time something I feel like is going good with my health, every time, even if I'm doing the work for things to go well, I still have a fear that something's gonna go wrong. And I want to say I've been wrong, but I probably haven't been wrong because I've manifested negativity into my life, you know, and that's not cool because I've been working on it, right? And so just gotta stay focused, and I gotta stay, you know, and trusting with myself that everything's gonna be okay, you know. And whether you believe in God or not, God's gonna be on my side. He's gonna be taking care of me, and that's all the only way that I can think of to, like, you know, go through. um. So breaking the habits of poverty mentality is by, like, spoil yourself with reason. Again, being okay with, like, spending a little bit here and a little bit there, once in a while, once a month, once every 3 months, like something like that. You create your own habit. Having ambitions, you guys, having ambitions, into, again, setting that goal, saying, if this happened to someone else, it's gonna happen to me. I just gotta do the work. I gotta do the work and make it happen. Taking risk. A lot of us who, I don't think I've gone too extreme. Okay, maybe I have, now that I think about it. I haven't gone too extreme to taking a risk. I haven't tried to go back to school. Well, I've tried. So I've tried in the sense that I sat down in front of a computer. I started the process of signing up for school, and then I flinched, and then I got scared, and then I said, I'm probably gonna fail, and I'm probably not gonna be able to afford it, and there was thousands and millions of excuses for me to not go and for me to not go and follow through and do it. Did I actually sign up? No. Did I actually go to a class? No. Did I actually fail at a class because of my mentality? No. I didn't even get to go to the class. So I think I would have been more content with myself if, even if I would have failed the class, I would have at least made it to the class. So taking risk. Hanging out with rich people. It sounds way easier than done. But I don't mean rich people per se, like you're gonna go and you're gonna hang out with Elon Musk. Shout out, Elon. I'm saying, like, you are gonna start hanging out with the person who is more financially stable in your group. You are gonna start actually, taking pointers as to how they save money and how they make shit, work. You're gonna hang out with your friend who actually has a clothing line or a brand. You are gonna, learn and read books that actually talk about money, manifesting money, or business dealings, or how to even do anything related to money, and how to accept that you are worthy of getting some money, and understanding that you are. And then expand your mindset. Like I said, reading books about financial expenses and how to spend it and how to invest and stuff like that. Like, you can totally do that, you know. So how not to lose your shenanigans on spending when you finally have money. Again, if you were to get suddenly, this is why you always see on those, like, people that win the lottery and lose it all, like, in the matter of seconds. And I mean seconds, like months, because they don't know how to use the money. They've never had money. They don't know how to invest it. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to save it. They don't know how to manage it. And then also, most definitely, you entrust the wrong people, to help you with your money. So, understand your money and how not to lose your shit. Like, spend it right, save it, and know what you can do with it. Creating the habit to replace those negative poverty mentality thoughts. I think that was just like a thought that I wanted to make sure that, it was mentioned. Being able to take care of yourself and buy yourself things you wanted. Being dressed. Oh, this is one of the things that one of my friends was talking about. Being dressed a certain way because of certain expectations of what we look. I wouldn't go to certain restaurants because I thought I couldn't afford them and couldn't get served because of how I looked. So, these are two different things. One of them being dressed a certain type of way because of the expectations of what we look. So, poverty mentality is a thing. I didn't explicitly spoke about it on the internet, but to me, it's a thing about feeling like, this is why there's a lot of poor people that actually wear brands that they can barely afford. because they're trying to have this look that they can afford it, right? And then we also have the people that don't care about brands, but also don't care about looks, and you know, they are constantly trying to save money, so they'll wear out the clothes they have because they're trying not to spend any money on non-essentials, right? So right there we have the two extremes. The extreme where we'll buy stuff that they can't afford to impress and look a certain type of way because they've never had it, and then the ones that never spend a dime on replacing something that's broken because, like my ex used to say, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. He didn't sound country, but his words were, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So even if it was something that needed to be replaced, because it was faded, for instance, since we're talking about clothing, he wouldn't replace it because it wasn't damaged, because it wasn't broken, because it didn't have the necessity to be replaced. And that's not a good mentality either, I mean, that is poverty mentality, but that's not a good thing. I personally wouldn't go to certain restaurants. I used to think, don't laugh at me, but I used to think Olive Garden was a place for rich white people and not Hispanics who like my parents. I'm not saying they couldn't afford it. Now that I know, now that I can actually go and spend, an afternoon there and order food, not that it's like the greatest, now that I've had real Italian food. Don't hate me. But, like, now I think about it and I'm just like, I could eat there whenever I want. Shit, I can eat at fancier restaurants whenever I want, but it's gonna cost me, my month budget. But it's not like it's not like it was really, really impossible. So I used to think also that, like I said, I had to dress a certain type of way to even be served and come in. Because when I was a kid, I was treated very racist while trying to eat at this Italian restaurant. Not hating on Italians. Italians are great, I've been treated well by some Italians. But this particular place was a little racist about us being Hispanic, about speaking Spanish, and really, realistically, it was just about the way we looked, and they didn't serve us. So I feel like ever since then, it was always kind of like, we can't go there because we can't afford it. We look a certain type of way, we don't have the brands, or we don't dress a certain type of dress. And then when I actually met people who could afford it, because I can afford it now. Because when I met people that could afford it, they wear whatever the fuck they want. They wear pajamas to a fucking restaurant. They wear Crocs to go to a Disney restaurant that I would never wear ratchet ass clothes to. And when I mean ratchet, I don't mean ratchet like, exposing my shit, my boobs and shit. I mean like just like knuckle is what we call it. So no, that's still a thing in my mind. I still haven't graduated from that. I already mentioned the hoarding of the food. Feeling guilty of purchasing something feeling guilty right after you purchase something. Doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small, but having that feeling after of guilt of like, oh, I could have really used this money instead on something essential. I'm over here spending it on non-essentials because I fucking felt like it, and again, we go back to the thing of like, it's all because we grew up with that idea that it was essentials only. So always putting essentials first, never wanting to spend on non-essentials. That's what I just said. Not always buying everything you want, even if it's a dream. This is one of the things that I'm still working on. I mean, I'm working on everything, but I'm still working on in the essence that I decided this year that with my magic card, aka credit card, I was gonna spend all the concerts I wanted to attend to, even if I went by myself. Because during quarantine, it was hell being without live music. Anybody who knows me knows that I like to go to shows. I like to go to like events where they have live music. I'm looking for a jazz concert, preferably on a small venue, a small bar. I don't know. I'm old, but anybody who knew about the piano bar in Hollywood, that was beautiful. Like I got to experience that, and jazz music in a small bar like that is magical. Um, but I'm looking for something like that, or something even in a big amphitheater with violins and stuff like that. Like Lindsay, I totally am gonna forget her name and butchered it, but like Lindsay, with the piano artist and stuff. Like I would love to see her live and stuff, you know. But I decided that because that's something I want to be able to do before I fucking die. And I'm not gonna be always be hesitant saying I'm not gonna be able to see Red Hot Chili Peppers because I can't afford it and I need to pay this and I could use that money instead on spending it on this and that and that and that. And now I'm like, I wanna fucking see them. So I'm gonna fucking look up the concert and I'm gonna fucking see them. Recently, I really wanted to see the Foo Fighters, and I recently found out that the drummer passed away or something or other. I haven't gotten all the facts. I'm sorry. But I was like, what? You know, what? You know, so I want to be able to, like, enjoy the music, enjoy the bands that I love, enjoy the artists that I love, and be able to see if, even if they're 100 feet away, but I get to enjoy the music live. I get to see and feel the energy of the people and have eargasms. Does anybody know what eargasms are? Eargasms are that shiver feeling that you get when you hear a song, whether it's the first time or every time you hear it, and you get those shivers of like happiness because of music. Like music does that to you. That's my fucking therapy. I'm alive because of music. So you best believe that I don't care if I have poverty mentality and I starve myself tomorrow, but I'm going to that concert, you know? And so that's the plan. You know, I want to be able to treat myself. I want to be able to say I'm not going to get to miss this opportunity that may never happen again, that I may never really have again, because of poverty mentality. Because of this idea that I was engraved in me since I was a kid, that I needed to save my money for a rainy day, that I needed to save my money for essentials, and that I could only buy food with it. You know, um, spoiling yourself within reason. Sometimes people can go to extreme, and like I said, you know, want to fulfill all their needs, and want to have everything as soon as possible, and just like spend all that money on absurd things. Extremes, when I mean extremes, is to the point where you care more about the brand than about getting a full tank in your car, than that you prefer to have that really nice car over your kids having like a decent bed. You know, those are extremes. Essentials for your kids and your family and yourself should always be, you know, a priority. Yeah, there's a balance. There needs to be a balance where you don't like overdo one thing over the other, you know. Um and then we can set goals and choose to get those, like, um you know, vacations. I always had this idea that I would never be able to go to Hawaii, and Hawaii only gets more expensive and more expensive according to what I know, you know. But it's a goal in my mind that at some point, hopefully within the next 5 years, I'm going to fucking Hawaii, you guys. I wanted to go to Puerto Rico in 2020 and COVID happened. But it's really not that bad. It's really possible to us common people, you know? And everyone, I feel like another thing in poverty mentality is that our society or group of people, like the people that you hang out with, are also going to be okay with bringing you down. And they're also going to be like, oof, yeah, that's never going to happen. Oh, yeah, you should not spend that kind of money. I heard it's really expensive. I heard that you can never. And that's another thing. I just thought about it right now. Family, your community, those people that you are closest to or that you hang out with, they are also in that same mentality, and therefore they also try to take you down, you know. like I said, for my beautiful person, I was really happy to hear that all these stuff could happen for her, and I wanted her to do great, and I really believe that she can do the job and take care of all that. But if you are around people who have the same poverty mentality and don't know how to do anything about it, don't acknowledge it and realize that this is what they're doing, they're just going to be okay with bringing you down and tearing your dreams and telling you that you probably will never do the job right, that you may never go to Hawaii, that it's so expensive. Just like the idea, I just thought of everything else. Fuck, this episode's going to be long. I'm sorry, I'll cut everything out. But all the non-essentials, I'll cut all the non-essentials out. But another thing about it is buying a house. I'm still working on that. Shout out to my friend, my realtor friends. I'll be working on it with you, my darling. But buying a house, around our community, around our people, everyone here in LA is talking about, like, oh, if you want to buy a house, you have to go to Bakersfield. If you want to buy a house, you have to go to Lancaster. If you want to buy a house, you have to go 3 hours away from the city just so you can buy a house. Now, that may be true. It is expensive. I'm not going to say it ain't. It is pretty difficult, but it is not definitely impossible. Okay? And so a lot of things that at times what happens is that we listen to the people that are around us, that we hang out with, same negative poverty mentality ideas, and don't realize that that's what's happening, and don't realize that they're the ones that are poisoning our brains and our ideas. Poisoning our brains and our ideas with being able to get out, being able to do better, being able to buy a house, being able to get that job, being able to get that vacation and stuff like that, So being happy that someone else has got a promotion, one day will be my opportunity, but that will never mean that it will never happen to me. So changing those ideas and stuff is definitely essential. It's definitely important to breaking the habits, like Linkin Park, breaking the habits of having this poverty mentality. I feel like a lot of us, like, they made stickers. I feel like a lot of us are actually gonna get a little bit of education on this episode, solely on that. Ignore my legs, okay? Solely on the fact that, there is people who will pull us down. There is people who will pull us down because they don't know better and because they're unconsciously jealous of you, and unable to change that mentality until they're aware of it, until they open their eyes and see that this is happening, that this is real, that this is actually something that, you may be a victim. If you're a victim of poverty mentality, please call 1-800, get your life together, and change that mentality, do better. And if you know someone that you love that is going through this and you didn't have to go through that, that's fucking awesome, dude. But appreciate the fact that they're trying, or teach them how different it is. I actually asked someone today as well, and then he's like, well, what do you mean? I've always lived in the good life. And it's funny because even if it was true, I'm not saying it wasn't, but even if it was true, well, that's fucking awesome, but not all of us are. Not all of us got lucky. Not all of us are conscious that we can actually get out and that we can actually get better, and that we don't have to, always stress out about buying groceries at the 99-cent store, about I don't know, going to the swap meet because that's the only place where you can find it, about having hand-me-downs. I am 32 years old, and sometimes my mom still wants to give me hand-me-downs. I'm not saying that I will never take, clothes that people like didn't fit into or whatever and not thought of me or whatever the fuck, but it's just kind of like that mentality that we can never get away from it, that we always have to, remain receiving hand-me-downs because there's no other way that we're gonna have clothes. I have shopped online and ordered clothes from people with brands and stuff. I don't particularly care about brands, though, except for Vans. But I don't particularly care about brands because I'm not a fond of them, because I don't find purpose. If the clothes fits right and it looks great, then great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And I'm not gonna try to fit into something only because it's a certain brand. I really don't give two shits. I will not spend an entire paycheck because of a brand name when the clothing is the same thing as the one I can find at Forever 21, or something at Old Navy. But the thing is, but that's what I'm talking about, knowing that I can actually go to Guess, knowing that I can go to American Eagle and buy something. For a long time, people I know were always saying, how we couldn't afford that. Okay? Because of the salary you pay me? So you again, that gets engraved in your head where you don't try even. There were times where I wouldn't even want to go into the store thinking that there would be nothing that I could afford. Always looking at the price tag. And as a goal, as being financially stable in my life, I want to be able to shop without looking at a price tag. And that's a fucking goal right there. There you go. Poverty mentality. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my house. But, it's a process. It's a healing process as well of exchanging that and changing the thoughts and being more aware of it, acknowledging that it's something that we may suffer and that we can't change, and stuff like that. And yeah, you guys, this has been Shenanigans and More. This is your psycho host, Psycho Alex, and it's Shenanigans and More sign. And Luna went to bed because she's a disaster and she's a hot mess, and Rocky's still barking out there. I'm pretty sure you can hear him. But this has been Shenanigans and More. This has been your Psycho Alex. And I hope that if you guys see my stickers around somewhere, you guys love them. You guys take a picture of them and hashtag Shenanigans and More for Instagram. Post them up, you guys, if you guys see them at random places. Mwah. If you are lucky enough to get a sticker from me, please post them up. And spread them around, share the love, share it to the world, and assist me with getting famous. Just kidding. I don't care about being famous. I just care that these videos actually help you guys. So if this has been an educational video, please like, comment, or subscribe. And bing, it's late, you guys. But tell me what you thought. Rocky, shut up! Okay, over here. Come here. Over here. No, over here. Come on. Come on so we can start the episode. Good girl.